morning. Happy Thursday. Pre-market. Welcome to the opening bell crypto. Just right on the hour. I got involved in a conversation on my buddy DigiJoint Space. He's been doing those X spaces for number 1250 now. So pretty darn cool. But anyway, I'm going to go over and see how. Looks like yesterday the X was working, and furthermore, I was able to. It saved it. It hasn't been doing that for a few days. So that was cool to see. I'm going to see if I'm live here on X. Looks like it's working. Let's see if we can hear us. I was able to. Yeah, nice. So it is working. So that's good to see. Let me put my picture down in the bottom here. Small. My camera lighting's not great here. This isn't my office. It's really good in my office, but I don't go into my office that much. So let me do a test. You do a GM post to make sure that it's coming through okay. But it looks like that's working over there on X. So welcome everyone, GM. Yeah, so we've got 15 minutes before the U.S. market opens. I'm Crypto Bull Ron. I have been in Bitcoin mining and investing here now for 15 years, and I do run a fund for my full-time job. So I'm looking to hopefully save you a little time. By the time this show starts, I've usually been up for at least 4 hours analyzing the market and what news. So I'm hoping I'm really going to save them time when you listen to space, that you will be able to going on, what's affecting the market, kind of the macro stuff. And please give me a follow if you're on. I'm currently live streaming to YouTube, which I'm pretty new to, Rumble, and X over there on X, where I've been for 4 years now I do a show right after this on X Spaces, GM Bitcoin Morning Show. And I have hosts and stuff. Cover a lot of the same stuff, but there's just a little different format. On that, you're just talking. You can't show any charts or something. You can pin some things. But anyway, let's start out. Yeah, not a great day today. I mean, I already just looking, we're kind of bleeding out slowly here. 66,047 is what we're looking at with Bitcoin. Not exactly what perfection. Kind of hoping to break that 70. We just kind of been slowly beating up. Hey, Satoshi Nakamoto, GM. Yeah. Looking more red than the Chinese flag. Just too close to Chinese New Year for that. But interesting. Yesterday I had some technical difficulties, so it was a shorter show. But I realized I got to restart everything right before I start this. Otherwise, sometimes my computer lags up. It was an interesting article we ended with yesterday, that there is a big fund that just opened up, a big buyer, anonymous buyer in Hong Kong that's already bought $435 million in Bitcoin through, I believe it's I can't remember if it's through, I think it's through iBit. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's through iBit, but very interesting. Could that be the Chinese government? So, but yeah, definitely not looking good today. Already you can see with 17 minutes till the market opens, we can see we're down 1.6%. Not looking good. 65,995. Let's call it 60. Let's call it 66, right? So we were at 70, and then we're down to 69, 68, 67. Now here we are at 66. I will talk about, my overhead targets. First to break 70, 72, 74. There's some Fibonacci retracements. There's a previous year high. There's a lot of resistance there. If we break through that, I think we could hit 80, 90. My lower side, my next target down, I'm certainly looking at that 200-week moving average, which is sitting right now at about 59. We almost touched that a few weeks ago, and we had that massive dip. But, the way I look at it is that's the next line. And then, then we're probably talking, low 50s, high 40s, where's the next major Fibonacci retracement. But, I hear people talking about, oh, we don't hold here, we're going to 30, we're going to 40. Yeah, listen, there's little battles the whole way where we can pop. But listen, let's take a quick look, just since it is the tracking. Let's look at how we're looking. You can see we're looking at the all of the futures here with 11 minutes to go. So we'll take a quick look at looking at the news. That's the thing is. So we are on X streaming, it looks like, but seeing how much of a delay. We've had nothing but problems. We're having a couple hundred viewers, and then the interface, I don't know if it's the interface I'm using or X itself, but it looks like it's a little bit slightly delayed over there, but not too bad. So hopefully that picks up when we figure it out. I am using a software that can stream to multiple platforms, but yeah, the Dow down NASDAQ 0.48. Definitely looking red. The Dow down 0.38. S&P down 0.4. So definitely looking bad in the market. That's not going to help us. Satoshi Nakamoto says Ivan on Tech is accurate with his market analysis. He called the top on October 8th. I like Ivan on Tech. I've known him for years and years and years as a account, right? He's been consistent. He used to break down. He's a dev, so he used to break down stuff. I like a good dude. I often watch his content because it's about 2:30 in the morning my time, so it works out good. Something I can listen to. I'm doing other stuff, but yeah, he has a new software, and I haven't played with it much. Indicator. I'm sure you have to pay a monthly or a yearly. When it goes from bearish to bullish or bullish to bearish, and he's been pretty darn good at. I'm going to look into that software. It's something you may want to look into. I don't even know exactly what it's called, but over the time, he's consistently trying new products. He had to develop a dev class. He was teaching people how to become devs in the space. Good dude in the space. I like what he does, but I think, listen, the way I invest, I DCA, I buy, I do trade some grid bots and stuff like that, which is something I'm going to be teaching everyone how to do, but I don't do it with leverage. You have to do it on a futures exchange, but you don't have to do it on leverage. But nonetheless, I think he's sick of all those people having to be scared and panic, want to make money. So I'm going to look more into that. I think thus far it's been pretty effective and, calling the bull trends, marking the bull and bear trends. He did call the market, especially at the kind of at the 50-week moving average. And he just takes all that. He takes whatever he likes and he just basically gives you, we're bullish or we're bearish on that coin. So yeah, something worth looking into, and I'll definitely look into. But let's get into the news here. Got 8 minutes before the market opens. We'll come back and check. This is a big deal right now. This is the Trump up over there. You've got the Straits of Hormuz, which 20% of the world's oil cover comes through there, right? And we've got big buildup over there. And also, they also track, there's all kinds of indicators and stuff. There's channels, a few that I follow that are just all about military conflicts, right? And they're tracking. I mean, we know obviously all the firepower that's putting there, but recently they've been tracking some of the fueling planes, right? With all the fuel planes flying over there, refueling planes, they can refuel the jets and the bombers and whatnot in there. That's more of an indication that maybe they're really planning something, right? And you never know with Trump because you never know what he's thinking. Like a lot of what Trump's doing could be just playing chess, playing 3D, 4D chess or whatever. So, but there is a big concern, and people are saying if something's going to happen, they believe it's going to happen this weekend. And unfortunately for us in the crypto world, we know how Trump rolls, right? We know what Trump likes to do. Friday after the market closes, he likes to go in and be in and out and over the weekend. So in Monday market, because he's make no mistake about it, Trump acts like he doesn't pay attention to the market. He very much cares about what the market does. So I think when you're, he does this on the weekend. Now that's horrible for those of us here in crypto, because what happens, we take the brunt of it. We become the whipping boy or whatever. We're the ones that take the heat because no one else can trade anything else. Then come Monday morning, everything's the same, right? Yeah, there we go. Satoshi Nakamoto Friday special. We've seen it too many times to ignore it. And now that looks like what we're coming in for. And that's why the market is bad today. So brace for volatility at the very, very, very minimum, right? Also, Trump is going to be doing some remarks today on the economy. So that'll be interesting. We'll see what he says. He needs to get out there and start selling this to the American people. Right now, midterms coming up in November. He's not looking great right now. So he needs to do more of that. Hopefully he'll mention Bitcoin and some of the stuff that's going on there. But this is it, poly market. We talked about, I think, yesterday, 8 chance of a U.S. strike on Iran. Tape is ugly. Suspicious wallets are stacking. Okay. Pizza index spikes every day. And this is something that I've started paying attention to, as I say, following some of these channels that focus nothing specifically on things. When a lot of pizzas are getting ordered to the Pentagon, and it's really been accurate lately with all these little conflicts. It's a real thing. When the Pentagon's ordering a bunch of pizzas, it shows everyone's there working overtime. So pizza index is spiking. Trump nonstop Iran talk. Israeli is warning citizens to prepare. I saw today Poland was asking all its citizens to get out of there. So high probability. I think it's a coin toss because Trump, he's a master negotiator. And I believe, you ought to read his Art of the Deal. That was written I swear in like the 90s, maybe even the 80s. But man, the guy's a master negotiator and he knows how to play this game. So it could all be for show and it could get solved. I mean, I know Trump always has an out. He's always wanting to solve stuff diplomatically, but doesn't mean he's not going to show. And no one knows. We don't know. We do not know what's going to happen. So prepare for that. Now I'm going to show you, I want to play a couple of, for the market open, I had a couple audio clips. It's a little different when I play audio clips. I have to switch to a tab and kind of a pain. Let me see if I can figure that out real quick. I think I'm going to play a few of them from the same. My buddy, I was over there at Altcoin Daily. I want pieces, okay? So that's so that you guys can hear them talk. And this, let me turn up my.
An opportunity. This is about Coinbase is actually.
So I'm in the same tab. Altcoin Daily had 2 or 3 killer space, and I want to do more audio, but it's kind of tricky with the software I use. But anyway, we're gonna come here. Okay, so we'll play this first one here, and I want to balance my sound here, and I'll get on Twitter and see if I can hear it. But this is I got 3 or 4 clips here to play, and Brian Armstrong talking about so is that the one I wanted? Brian Armstrong, what's the name if you're mistaken? Okay, let's talk. Let's hear this clip real quick.
Powering infrastructure for 5 of the largest banks in the world right now. So the smartest ones are all leaning into this as an opportunity. This is about, it's good for Coinbase, it's good for the crypto industry, but it's also good for the banking industry to embrace innovation and adoption. America has never been one that just tries to be stagnant and protect the incumbents. We want to lean into the future and make sure that America stays competitive because we're existing on a global stage here, right? Like China is putting out a central bank digital currency that is paying interest. There's offshore unregulated stablecoins, which are actually much bigger than the ones that are regulated within the U.S. perimeter right now. President Trump has said he wants to repatriate these funds to build this industry here in America, and to do that, we have to have stablecoin rewards.
That seems like it was a little bit choppy. Sorry, I turned my mic off. Yeah, it seemed like it was coming across a little choppy. Well, let's try a couple more here. I did have a few. Anyway, this was, we talked about quantum over the last couple of days. Here's Brian Armstrong speaking quickly about the quantum threat.
One thing I've heard is that quantum is going to break the blockchain. Mm-hmm. Is that true?
No, that's not true. I think that's a very solvable issue. And actually, Coinbase has been very front-footed on this. We put together a quantum advisory council, and we're in regular contact with the major blockchains about a path to upgrade to a post-quantum cryptography world. So we're going to stay engaged on that, and I think it's very solvable.
So, much like what I reported yesterday, Adam Back said, and also everyone, this isn't a problem that's going to happen. They're already taking steps, and I'll listen back, see how this audio is. Sound a little choppy to me. But here's the Trump boys. Play one more, and then we'll go check on the market.
I'm a huge proponent of Bitcoin. I do think it's $1 million. I think it's one of the greatest performing asset classes. I mean, go back 2 years. Bitcoin was at what, 16,000? You know, where is it at right now? 70?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if you look at the last 10 years, Bitcoin has gone up 70% a year on average, year over year for the last decade. Name an asset class that has performed better than Bitcoin. And now, obviously, you have lots of volatility. If you don't want volatility, you know, go invest in some muni. You know, go have a great time. Go invest in some treasury. You're going to have volatility with something that has tremendous upside. But I've never been more bullish on Bitcoin in my life. I've never been more bullish on cryptocurrency in my life. You look at what every one of the big financial institutions in the country is doing, whether it be Fidelity, whether it be Charles Schwab, whether it be JP Morgan, whether it be BlackRock, right? Goldman's here. Yeah, I mean, go down. Every single one of them are adopting cryptocurrencies. They're willing to treasury cryptocurrencies. They're putting their private wealth clients into cryptocurrencies. Before, they were telling them to put exactly zero into cryptocurrency. Then it was 2%. Now all of a sudden it's 5-6%, and the number keeps on climbing. It is the asset class of this generation. It's what every person under the age of 50 is into and loves, and we're just getting started. We're on the 1 yard line.
I do well
So,
too.
listen,
you know, and I know stablecoin is.
They're little, you know, he's famously gets a lot of heat for famously, you know, prepare for this or that. But the reality is he's right. He's just timing's a little off. But to have those guys bullish like we are, to me, is amazing. By the way, this is a little bit of a test. I'll come back and see how this audio is on Twitter, because I have to do it a little different to get the audio to come through to you guys. It sounded a little choppy when I just listened to it, but I'll come back and listen to it on YouTube and everything later on. I'd like to have this. Here's the last one I wanted to try. Michael Saylor talking about.
Can I first just get your gut answer
Bitcoin
as to whether we are in the first stages of another extended crypto winter?
We are in a crypto winter. This is the fifth major drawdown of Bitcoin in the 5 years since I've been in the marketplace. This is a much milder winter than previous winters. It'll be shorter than previous winters. It's going to be followed by a spring and then a glorious summer. So don't fear.
Why do you feel so confident saying that?
The banking sector is supporting Bitcoin much more strongly today than we were 4 years ago. We've got the formation of digital credit networks, banking credit networks. We've got the support of the administration. We've got a Bitcoin president. We've got 12 cabinet members that are pro-digital assets and pro-innovation. And every single month, you see new advances in the digital asset space, which are bringing extraordinary productivity to the economy and a lot of capital to the asset class.
Can I first?
Yeah. How do you, oh, actually, sorry, I got to go. I shut that off before I switch my screen. Let me go back to my normal screen here, which is. Okay, sorry, I didn't fumble the ball there. Anyway, market's just opening 3 minutes ago. Let me go make sure. I've been shutting my mic off and on. Let me go make sure I can still hear it here. Pull up my. I'm sorry, I didn't fumble the ball there. Okay. Yeah, I shut my mic off so I didn't get rebound when it was playing, but on my speakers. But anyway, okay, let's take a look at Bitcoin here. Let's look at the hour chart just to see how it's been doing. So we're at 66, right? Came all the way down to 65, and right now we were saying 66 when we started the show. We're about there. It doesn't look like anything much has happened. Let's look at see how the market's actually opened over here. Refresh the NASDAQ here. Might be what it is. It might just be kind of on a holding pattern. Something happens on Friday. I think it's a coin toss. I'm going to go 50-50. I think it's a coin toss. Okay, so So indeed, it opened up not quite as bad as it was looking, but we'll see what happens over the next 20 or so minutes while we're on this call. But yeah, we did open down in the negative on the NASDAQ, down 0.35, down a third. The Dow's looking about the same. Let's pull that up and see. Yep, down 0.46. And let's look at the S&P. S&P down 0.3. So yeah, about what, little better than what it was looking like. Just we'll see what happened. Up 49.96, down a quarter of a point. Situations like this, especially if something happens, we're going to see gold, silver, and all right, because 20% of the world's oil is at risk here. By the way, GM, all the see live listeners starting to come in there on X, and I'm hoping the live stream wasn't working good for the live. I did say yesterday to it, but the live seemed to be working good and everything. So I'm glad to see that software glitch is getting worked out here. But yeah, so we see the traditional markets down a little bit on fears of course, like Polymarket's saying, 80% chance we strike Iran this weekend. And we know it'll happen on a Friday. Like you said, Satoshi Nakamoto here in the chat, Friday special, right? But we don't know. I'm giving it 50-50 right now because I know how Trump negotiates and I know he wants to work it out, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'd love to see a regime change there, honestly. And, they had those protesters and they killed like 10, 20, 30,000. It was a lot worse than I think was reported initially. And then Trump they were able to put a stop to that. But, you have Israel who hates Iran. They're right there and they're our enemies, right? And they're encouraging it and they don't like it. They do not. They want to see Iran change. And crazy in the 70s, Iran was kind of like Dubai is today, so progressive and stuff. But anyway, from the time I was a little kid, I've been hearing about Iran and their BS. I think we proved that they're not as badass as they thought. Their Arab support and stuff was taken out in a matter of days last time. So I think we see that they were kind of a paper tiger. But anyway, so Bitcoin right now, yeah, not a great day, not a day to be happy. But keep in mind, Bitcoin pumps about 12 to 14 days out of the year. These big $5,000, $10,000 pumps. The rest of the time, we're just here surviving. We're just doing our thing, doing the best we can. So, Bitcoin 65, 688. You can see I'm looking at the hour. Look at the hour chart here. Well, it's like, yeah. So we look at the daily chart. It's showing it pretty good. We're just kind of bleeding down, and I kind of expect that, to be honest with you. Let's look at Ethereum, 1916, down 2.6% as well, down about 1% here in the last since we kind of started the show. XRP, hell, we were $1.48, now we're $1.39. So 4.5% down for the day, and I've noticed RP much more up and down. Much more volatile, better up, better down than the rest of the top ones. I've been noticing that for a couple of months now, but officially we're down 4.5%, 0.3. BNB, not really. I love BNB. I remember when BNB was, I don't know what I got in at. I don't remember what I got in at. It might have been sub $1, might have been $2, but I remember when it was $4 for a long time. I remember $7. I remember $12. I'm talking months or years, right? And it was just an exchange token. They didn't have their own chain and stuff back then. But I was a first week user on Binance, and I was a first week user on KuCoin, and that's kind of where I bought all of my extra coins that aren't on U.S. exchanges. I don't want to have 100 exchanges. I'm now using BitUnex for my grids and for buying my extra coins. I don't use them. I know they're a futures exchange. That's not what I use them for. I don't use them for any kind of future stuff. I don't fly airplanes. I don't trade leverage, and I don't think you should unless you're really good at either. But it is a good place. I am going to put the link as soon as I get around to it in my bio so people can get on and sign up for that if they want. But anyway, that's what I'm doing. That's why I buy my BNB. That's where I buy my Bitcoin dog. That's where I buy my World Liberty file. All that stuff that's not on UX exchanges. But BNB down 2%, 0.7, faring a little bit better. And Solana, $80.21. You know, see, we were almost 84 about 24 hours ago. We're just kind of bleeding down a little bit. There's a little bump if we look at the hour chart. Kind of went down, up. You know, anyway, a slow bleed down. I trade my one of my largest holdings right now for me and my fund that I manage is Solana. I believe Solana is going to $1,000 someday. So I'm big on Solana, and I use it to trade my grid bots. So I bought a bunch yesterday. I'll be buying a bunch more today if this continues. And I will do some videos on those grid bots, show you guys how to do it. I think it's a way to make your money work without taking really any risk over spot. But anyway, let's talk about Doge. I haven't talked about Doge in a while. I've seen some of my friends that run TA thinking that Doge chart's looking pretty good and could break out to all-time high. Now, I used to love Doge. I loved the meme. I owned 10,000 Dogecoin at one point. It's the OG meme and stuff. What I don't like about it is there's no ongoing development, and it prints out 15 million a day. If it was a fixed asset like Pepe, man, you think of the potential of it. But everybody's of their eggs in the fact that Elon's going to integrate it into his XPay or whatever. And he's probably going to, but it's like they almost need to fork it or put some developers on or something. But anyway, so those of you that love Doge, and I do, I don't own any right now, but I've owned lots of Doge, and I do believe it'll see potential all-time high in the next bull run. But it seems to me like besides its OG status, and there's obviously millions and millions of holders, it's like everyone's putting all their hope in Elon, and he's really important for it. But the token itself is just got no development, and it's inflationary every day. That's the only thing. That's why I like Pepe better than Doge. But anyway, let's start keeping an eye on it. We're sitting at just under 10 cents. So I mean, let's look at it over the last month, right? Well, actually, it was 13 cents. So that's surprising. I thought I hadn't been paying that much attention, so it was doing okay, and that's probably on the news of Elon. But anyway, yeah, not great, right? Not a great day. Just kind of now we're bleeding a little more. Let's look back at Bitcoin. We'll look at the hourly chart. Well, it did. You know what? Oh no, we did have a nice little spike. I saw the dip. I hadn't refreshed it, so not as bad. Hopefully, we don't get the 10 o'clock American dump that comes oftentimes here in the next few minutes. Kind of become a thing. Back in 2017, 2018, 19, it was always the Chinese dumping on us. But yeah, Satoshi makes a good point in the chat. Elon hasn't talked about Doge much as recently from what I've seen. Same, but he's probably going to somehow integrate it in there just because he thinks it's funny. But yeah, if he doesn't talk about it, man, nothing's really going to become, that's why it's the only thing. I used to love Doge. It was such a good meme back in the day, 16, 17, 18, 19. It's the OG of the meme coins is what started all. I used to love it. Like I say, I can't get over those 15 million Doge getting done every day. But it is an OG meme. I still have to say, I mean, let's look at the market cap on Doge right now. 16 billion, right? So at all-time high, I think it was 90 billion. So yeah, we'll come back. We'll check on this before we finish here, but let's look at some more news. Let's kind of hit some of the news. There is once again, Polymarket's 80% chance we strike. Yeah, 74 cents all-time high. I remember that Saturday Night Live. I had a guy, one of our investors in our fund, was literally sitting on like a couple 100,000 in Doge. And right before Saturday Night Live, I said, dude, you need to get out of that. So he sent me over the Doge to invest in our fund, and we liquidated it for him. It was like, I don't know, 100, 200,000. I don't remember exactly. But man, did he ever say, because he just wasn't following, he didn't know. People told him to buy it. He's a dentist or orthodontist or something like that, makes a lot of money. But anyway, we saved his butt by selling it literally the day of Saturday Night Live. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Thought this was, bullish. We've been seeing a little more, man. There was probably 6 months, 8 months. We didn't hear anything about any of the states buying, right? But now Virginia's 123 billion state retirement fund bought 7,180 more values of strategy, which is MicroStrategies. You can buy that as a stock ticker. I'd say it's kind of a leverage play on Bitcoin. A little different than if let's say you bought iBit or something where it's just straight Bitcoin. But you can buy that through your broker and a lot of people do. Whether it's states or big funds, family offices, sovereign wealth funds, it seems like they buy either MicroStrategies or they buy, like iBit. But in this case, it's MicroStrategies, 31,880 shares worth about $41 million. So that's bullish. Keep in mind, there's 50 states. They're all eventually going to have a 5 to 20%, even conservative, let's just say 5 to 15%, allocation to that. So we saw Arizona yesterday. I think we talked about it. We saw, was it North Carolina or someone else buying? So we're starting to see as it takes time for the legislations. We're early is my point. So we're early. We're still so early with Bitcoin. Even if you're listening to this for the first time today, you're on YouTube or X or Rumble or wherever, it is still early and you can still buy Bitcoin. You can change your life. You can change your kids' lives. Imagine not feeling the pressure of the bills. Imagine going out and being able to buy anything you want. It's a good feeling. I'm telling you, my dad always used to say, being poor sucks. Someday I'm going to write a book and I'm going to entitle it Being Poor Sucks, because he always used to say that, and it's a fact, right? And he also said money can't buy you money can't buy you love, but it can rent you some first-class affection. So probably true as well. I wouldn't know, but my dad was a bit of a womanizer up into his late 70s. So anyway, but he used to say being poor sucks, and it does. It's nice to have freedom. It's nice to be able to help your family. It's nice to be able to do all these things. So we hear about, everyone's like, oh, the boomers bought their house for a bushel of tomatoes or whatever. And I remember my mom, when my mom and dad got divorced, she bought her first house for $31,000. That's a house, $600,000 house. Now I get it, right? Even this, we sold our like $2 million house and we just kind of traveled for two years maybe. And then my wife, bought her grandma's house. So that's where we stay when we're in the States and we're not traveling. And yeah, it's tripled since we moved in 8 years ago. And, but anyway, I get that, but Bitcoin is that good or better for all of you. Like Eric Trump said, for the kids out here, or maybe it was Don Jr. I was actually supposed to be going out to Nashville to kind of hang out with Don Jr. and some friends this weekend, but I'm just got too much going on, especially since we're looking to launch our CoinZoom token on another exchange. It could happen any day. So I'm locked in on that. But anyway, this is bullish to me. We're early. You're not bullish enough. I'm not bullish enough. Oh, and I just wanted to put all this Clinton things, my husband took some rides on Epstein's plane for charitable work. Just simple. So hopefully that clarifies. Funny thing is, before, what I used to hear way back in the days, I'm talking like the 90s, and it was that Epstein was hanging out with this, that Clinton was hanging out with this Epstein character flying around in his jet called the Lolita Express. And we all know that, Clinton likes his girls, but I don't know. That doesn't mean that he got into all this crazy sex trafficking crap, right? But he was definitely buddies. And didn't Epstein have like a really freaky picture of Bill Clinton in a dress and some red shoes, and very disturbing. But anyway, for those of you that are buying what she's selling, he just took some rides, and I saw, I don't know if it was a joke, or I think it was real. I looked on her timeline, couldn't find Chelsea Clinton saying, you guys are all doing this close but no cigar, You know, he was, and I'm like, dude, should she really be throwing out cigar analogies? But anyway, for those of you that believe it, and it's crazy. I also saw that Prince guy, right? No longer a Prince Andrew or whatever. I heard he got arrested today and stuff with this Epstein file. So what a bunch of freaking weirdos and some really bad stuff. You're seeing some really bad stuff going on there. So put these people in jail already. And I don't know if Clinton, you know, what his involvement was, but he was definitely good buds with this guy. Birds of a feather flock together. I don't know that he was involved in all the really heinous stuff. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I really like to see this. So much controversy in the Olympics. I'm of it, to be honest with you. I don't have time. I'm locked into making some money here. I don't have time to screw around with a bunch of stuff, and especially, you know, but we had 2 or 3 people really bash the United States. Saying none of the Americans will be arrested. Probably right. Oh, you know, I had a little bit of trouble with my connection there. Hopefully didn't lose anyone. Looks like the connection on Twitter went. Yeah, that's weird. I got to look into, I'm like 20 feet from I'm literally like 20 feet outer, and I've got fiber optics in here. But anyway, I like to see this. This is our guy, Quentin Hughes. I'm not a hockey fan. I don't know what he is. I assume he's when I looked him up, he's obviously a pro and stuff, but it was cool. And this isn't just about Americans. This just isn't about anything. Any person who represents your country, at that point, you're not as much of an individual. Don't politicize it. Go out there, represent your country, be proud of your country. And if you're not, shut up or don't represent the country, because it's a different thing, right? If him as a hockey player or her as if she's on the ice capades or whatever, if they want to make their statements, go ahead. That's cool. But man, don't trash your country. I thought this was really cool. He was very grateful. Beat Sweden. My family's from Sweden originally. My great grandpa beat Sweden first time since 1960. So that was cool. We'll just kind of go through this. JP Morgan will now accept Bitcoin as collateral for loans. That's huge. They're huge. Bullish tailwinds, man. Bullish tailwinds. So sometimes you just got to zoom out. Look at the fundamentals. Don't worry about it. You saw Michael Saylor was not afraid. He wasn't worried about it. Man, buy some Bitcoin. Buy some blue chip stuff right now if you can. Not financial advice. Kraken still looking to go public this year. A great exchange here in the U.S. There's only like 6 or 7 totally functioning exchanges in the U.S. that are fully legalized and some of that stuff, right? But Kraken's one of them. They just acquired token platform Magna, which at one point was worth $70 million. It hasn't come out what they're doing, but they're looking to build it up before they do their IPO. So cool stuff. CME Group, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, will launch 24/7 crypto futures and options starting May 29th, pending approval. You know, that could get rid of, we talk about it all the time, that could get rid of this CME gap we see, right? And it acts like a magnet, and it's usually to the downside. Those CME gaps always get filled. And what that is on the weekends when they close the futures, then something happens up or down, there's a gap. And those gaps tend to get filled. I don't know why, but they just do. Eerily, like 90% plus time, I would say. So hopefully this will fix that. I don't like that. I think it's a thing. But anyway, cool to see that. Let's get the hell rid of that CME gap. Binance co-founder CZ says UAE to buy $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. And they may do it, right? We also have Saylor over there. These are a couple guys that are very, very well vested in the space, right? You may or may not like CZ. You may or may not think he crashed the market on 1010. I think he definitely had a hand. You know, I don't know. I don't necessarily see him as a villain out there, but he's definitely a capitalist, and he'll definitely take your money if he can. So I would say be careful out there. But anyway, let me just check one thing here. Okay. So anyway, we got some big people. Oh, jobless claims came out this morning. Actual was 206. These are people that are filing for unemployment. right? Actual was 206, expected 223, previous 227,000. Now, that's good news. Good news for the economy. Good news for people trying to find a job. But we have a situation sometimes where good news can become bad news. And what this does is this takes some of the pressure off the Fed now to cut rates, because remember, the Fed has a dual mandate: unemployment and employment, and interest rates. That's the only two things they look at. The reason they cut the last two times was the fact that job and employment was bad. This could potentially take some pressure off them. So this could be looked bad. Now, there's going to be a new Fed chair. Now, Trump's got bigger things to worry about. They're paying massive $1 trillion on interest on the debt, right? So they're borrowing at that higher rate. That's not good. So for Trump, he has a different things to look at. And also, you also have the fact that housing is killing us, right? Our housing sucks. No one can buy a house. The market's dead. Real estate agents, mortgage broker, contractors. It's good. So Trump has more to look at than the Fed does, and he's going to put someone in there, this new guy that's going to kind of go along with him. And most people in the finance world that I know, big players in the finance world, believes the Fed has been late and always is. So, but that another little deal we announced yesterday. We report on that $550 billion. Now, Indonesia and U.S. companies ink a $38.4 billion trade investment agreements. These are big deals that are going to pay dividends for a long damn time, okay? So these are good things. Trump's doing good stuff, whether you like him or not. He's got smart people. They understand the economy. So that's that. UAE mined 500 million worth of Bitcoin through the partner Citadel. Now, the word is they still hold most of that. So this is the UAE is broken into three. It's Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and one other. And this is the king or whatever of Dubai. Beloved, man. People love him. You go into every shop, they've got his picture. I think they got pictures of all three of them. But they love this guy. He drives around sometimes seemingly without security, drives himself around. People absolutely love him because he's done a great thing over there. So a couple other things and we'll move on. But you can now trade gold and silver on Binance. So they're getting into that, because people want to do that. And, I'll do it, but I don't know if I'll do it on Binance. As American, I really can't, to be honest with you. But I think this is a good thing. I think digital gold's a big thing. I'm gonna get in the Tether USAT, but they're getting into the gold and silver, get some of that money back. Italy's largest bank, Intesa Sanpaolo, I'm sure I'm saying it wrong, now holds 100 million in Bitcoin ETF. Once again, smart money's buying, dumb money's panic selling. Hopefully you're being smart money. Yesterday, this was interesting. We're seeing a lot of outflows from Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs, but yesterday Sol had 23.5 thousand, sold 2 million inflows yesterday. We're seeing the same thing. We're seeing the same thing with XRP. So those two things are newer ETFs, and they're actually positive for those two tokens. Also, I saw that they started trading. I didn't actually say the slide, but I believe there was a say in Chinese, but an up and coming, kind of a beta play on. That's kind of my Sui's kind of my beta play on Solana. I don't have near the market traction and stuff, but they're definitely one I hold in my portfolio. XAUT is gold. USAT is their fully tracked new stable coin. Don't touch that. So yeah, XAUT is the gold one. I think it's 2.5 or 3 billion. USAT is their stable coin. Interesting. We'll see how that gains traction. I think they're just doing that to cover their basis. I don't think their regular stuff's going to meet. I don't think USDT is going to meet all the regulations coming down for stable coins, but we will see. Last but not least, I wanted to leave you with this. World Liberty Fi is launching an institutional RWA product with their first asset tied to the Trump International Hotels and Resorts in the Maldives. Is this real estate's biggest? move yet. I would say so. Let's take a look at World Liberty Fly. I started buying some yesterday based on what they're doing with their stable coin. Dropped down, I think it was number, let's see, 31. Their stable coin, I think, is 19. So, they're down around 11 cents. They held support pretty good at 10%. 10 cents caught my attention. And now they're sitting there. But yeah, so they're going to do some RWA stuff, real world assets, some tokenization. I think it's great if somebody, let's say someone living in Ethiopia or something like that, who doesn't even have a bank or a brokerage account, but has a cell phone, can invest in some tokenized tower in Dubai or something. I think that's great. I'm starting to buy here, not a huge position, but I am starting to take a position at these levels. Last look at Bitcoin, we'll call it a day, man. Glad everyone could join me today. Hopefully the show saves. I see some people listening on X. I hope that, and obviously Satoshi Nakamoto's over there on X and been helping us out on the chat today. Hopefully you will be able to, it'll save it again and not like it did yesterday. So I was happy to see that. But okay, Bitcoin 66.40. Let's look at the hourly chart. So yeah, we had that drop and now we're at 66,594. So about $600-700 better off than where we started the show. I'll take it. Hopefully we can grind up. I'd love to just keep grinding. I don't think I'd say buckle up, prepare for volatility, especially this weekend. Let's see what happens. And I'll be back tomorrow to wrap up the week on the GM opening bell crypto. You're welcome to jump over onto X at Crypto Bull Ron if you want to follow. We got the GM Bitcoin Morning Show. We've been doing that show for 4 years. Got to Enzo, Kev for King, Joe Domains, Paige Howe over there helping me out, plus a bunch of good speakers come up. Come join us over there. We'll be covering a lot of the same stuff with more insight. And anyway, everyone have a good day. Just kind of, know we're going to be volatile. If you can't handle it, just turn your phone, or if you have money, buy the dip if it dips again. Other than that, I'm not feeling too bad here. I'm anxiously buying the dip. I'm anxiously trying to get more Bitcoin and more of some of my favorites here. So I'll be buying more Solana today for sure, and then see what happens here. But thank you everyone for joining me live. I appreciate it. If you're on Rumble or YouTube, feel free to give me a follow. And we're here every day for the most part, Monday through Friday when the market's open for Opening Bell Crypto. So thank you guys for joining me, and feel free to jump over on X if you want, and we'll see everyone tomorrow.